guys, what's going on? In today's video we are looking at R.E.P.O and I'm making a tier list for the monsters. I'll be starting off from the tier 1s and I'll be working my way up to the tier 3s. This is all my own opinion. That means that technically it's not faked, but it kind of is. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch and join the Discord down below. Thanks. Spewer D tier. He can be somewhat annoying, but he's very rarely killing you, and generally speaking he isn't a big threat, and that's why he goes in D tier. Followed is probably going to be the Duck and C tier, or Apex Predator. Apex Predator, in current patch, which is pre-1, so it's 0 point something, I forgot. The Apex Predator is, you can avoid him, and if you're somewhat decent at the game, or if you play enough, the only way the Apex Predator is going to get triggered is if a different monster, like a clown or something, or this guy, the Mentalist, if they aggravate him, or maybe this guy, the chef, or if the Reaper does it. But generally he's not a threat. Second of all, there is the Shadow Child. Shadow Child's going in A tier, mainly because, oh no, Shadow Child and the Eye, they're both going in A tier because they both do a similar, they're both extremely effective at area denial, which is problematic, and it makes life very difficult for me, because it means that there are some rooms, or sometimes just an entire area of the map, which I need to go through, but I can't go through because of them. Now that leaves Gnomes. Gnomes go in B tier. They've actually moved up significantly. Not because they're lethal, but just because they're annoying. So Gnomes are kind of annoying because they target valuables specifically. And then, I mean, you are a secondary target, but they mainly target Gnomes, and it's irritating. It irritates me. And that's why they go in B tier. Now for the tier 2s, I think we're gonna start off with the least lethal tier 2. Them. Now, I think even though bombers are in my opinion, a bigger threat than the Gnomes are, generally because they're a tier 2, and because there are other tier 2s which are so much more dangerous, the bombers just aren't as, they're not as threatening, and they don't demand as much respect as other things or other tier 2s would. And then another tier 2 that's in C tier is the Chef. Chef isn't very threatening. He just kind of lacks a general strength, mainly because his attack time is a charge up, so you can hide from it. Yeah, he just isn't particularly dangerous. And of all the tier 2s, I'd say Chef has a higher chance of killing you than this, but that's about it. And because he doesn't target valuables, and because he doesn't have an explosion, which alerts some guys, 1 and 2, because he doesn't have an explosion that notifies people where you are, or doxes your location, you are fine. He's generally not a threat. Now, moving on to the Rugrat. Rugrat's gonna go in B tier. Not because the Rugrat is strong, but because he has a capability and a possibility to damage you. So he does damage to you based on the item and how valuable it is. So if it's a big valuable that he's picking up and throwing at you, it's going to do a lot more damage. However, if you 100% a map, then there are no valuables, and therefore he's got nothing to throw at you, which means you can entirely ignore him. Which means Rugrat has the potential of being both S tier and D tier at the same time, but for safety, he goes in B tier because he can do damage, but if there is no valuable, he's not going to attack you, and you'll be fine. You'll be safe. So you just need to keep valuables away from him. Now, moving on to the Animal. Animal is more annoying than the Rugrat. like he's not lethal, mainly because he only does like 2 damage each time he hits you, but he's more annoying because he makes you go into the, what is it, crawling? He makes you roll up into a ball or whatever, which is pretty annoying. Or he knocks you over, and that is why he goes in beta. No, it's just a general annoyance, and he's not like a threat to life normally, but he demands a certain level of respect, because on some maps where you're like at the edge of a map, you could die fairly easily, and that would be pretty annoying because he can just kind of knock you off. Now, Blowjob, my sausage rolls calls him. He's very heavy. He's pretty loud. In current version, he doesn't have much health, being 100, I think. I think I'm going to put him at the bottom of beta, because he's not very strong. He's not very lethal. He can't do much damage to you. He's pretty. You can ignore him for the most part. You can work your way around him. Like he doesn't demand respect, and he can't hear you or anything. So you're mostly chilling. Now the Mentalist. Mentalist gets A tier, alongside these guys, because he has an ability to attack multiple people at once, in a way that maybe you guys don't really have it, but it's like he can attack multiple people, and if you try to rescue a friend, there's a chance that he grabs you as well. So that means that in theory he could only have one person, but in the end he could get 2 people, and he does 50 damage every time he slams them down. So he can be quite lethal. He can be quite annoying, and unless you have the correct tools to handle him, he does force respect. He forces you to play slightly differently, otherwise you may die. Now the Hidden. I think I'm going to put the Hidden in D tier. Like, I'm not going to lie, this guy has never led to me dying once. He just takes me back to spawn normally. Like, he just gives me a ride back to spawn, and that's it. That's all he does. He's not lethal, not dangerous. He can't damage you. You can kill him, but like, he does nothing basically, other than just kidnap you. But like, he does nothing. And then S tier, we have the Upscream. Because the Upscream is crazy. Like, the Upscream needs a nerf. He is very small hitbox wise. He doesn't do tons of damage, but he's got a knockback, which means he can do damage to you by you being thrown into the ceiling, by you bouncing around. And on maps where there's like holes or pits, he could attack you, and you could go into a pit. And if you don't get knocked away far enough from him, there's a chance that he can just continuously attack you over and over and over again, and it's not particularly very fun. But it's a possibility, and it could happen, and that's why he goes in S tier, because he's really strong sometimes. Now let's start off with B tiers for the tier 3s, because Reaper is really underwhelming. Hold up, sorry. Yeah, Reaper is really underwhelming for the tier that she's in. You'd really want her to be more powerful. Maybe she'd have a way to hear you or something. Maybe she could, I don't know, I think hearing or something. Or maybe she just, I don't know. But she's very underwhelming, and I feel as if she loses her attention span very quickly. And I feel as if the more you play, the less lethal she becomes, to a point where you can entirely disregard her kit, as it is very two-dimensional, and it is not particularly lethal as far as kits go, mainly because it's pretty weak, and it needs buffs, or she needs to be changed in a way that makes her more lethal and stronger. Now let's go on with the floating headsman. I think he goes an A tier. He can't hear still like the Reaper, but he moves a lot faster when he sees you, and that makes him a lot better. And the fact that he's floating, not flying, so that means you can't get rid of him as easily in like a gigantic pit. So he's a lot more dangerous, which is better. He's more of a challenge. You can still like defeat a headman. He's not immortal or anything. Well, he doesn't have a ton of health like this guy does. But he's strong. He definitely, you need to respect him. You need to give him space, but you can talk with him, so he's not like the thing that makes these guys here, in my opinion, stronger is that you can't talk near them. They will hear you, and if they hear you, it's pretty much game over. Now comes the robe. Robe's an A tier because the robe is pretty much like the headman, but if you look at his head, he turns around and he instantly sees you and he attacks you. He's got equal health, but he can do more damage than the headman can. And once they are locked onto you, they also move faster. So it's like a headman, but slightly more powerful, the robe is. However, with the robe you can still talk. So it's like they're all down here because you can't talk at all with that. Well, you can talk while everything here so far. Maybe not with a mentalist, but so far everything other than the mentalist you can talk through. Now comes the trudge. Now the trudge is going to be the bottom of S tier. Very bottom. For tier 3s, that is. Because he is slow. Like, he's got a lot of health, which means he's not particularly easy to kill unless you throw him off the map. But he's very slow. And how slow he is, that really affects how powerful he is and how he's able to control the map. But his slowness also means that if he is in the wrong place for you at the wrong time, he will really be able to cause a lot of damage. Yeah, I can't get rid of the ads. Sorry, guys. But he causes a lot of damage purely because he's just able to take up the space. And because of his ability to just take up the space, that makes him problematic by itself. However, yes, and then we go on to the clown. Now the clown is slightly more powerful because the clown can see you, he can hear you, and he's got a ranged attack as well as a melee one. Now his melee attack is sufficient. Like, it's not super dangerous. It doesn't do tons of damage, but it definitely, like, you need to respect it. And he's got ranged damage, which can be quite annoying. And the fact that he can hear you means that you need to respect him and you can't always talk through him. Which is kind of problematic, and it can cause some problems if you're doing multiplayer. Now there's the Huntsman. Huntsman is still the strongest monster as of current patch. Purely because of his ability to hear you means teamwork becomes very difficult. You can't tell people, guys, there's a Huntsman. You can't do that because you'll get shot. And unless you have a health upgrade or more than 100 health, you're not surviving. You're dead. You get blasted. And it's very possible for him to just kill your entire team because you didn't hear him and he heard you. Or you didn't see him and he heard you. And you're dead. And yeah, it's not a pretty one. But with that concluded, this is the tier list. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and join the Discord. And peace.